What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Horror Heads podcast. I am Rich Mallory here with my co-host Jerry Lorenko.
Fucking hyped, Rich.
Yeah, me too. Let's see, you could follow us on Instagram at Horror Heads Podcast. Email us to horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Music, or any other podcast place that has podcasts, you could also watch the video on YouTube. Anyone who is watching the video knows that there is a special guest here tonight. So tonight we are excited. We have Tim, and Tim runs the Average Reviews podcast, and he also organizes the Dread broadcast. So really, really stoked to have you on, Tim. I've heard lots of great things and heard you're very knowledgeable and very excellent at producing podcasts. So you're probably going to tear us apart and embarrass us, but that's fine.
No. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Very cool. So I guess the question is for those of us unfamiliar with the two things that you kind of work on, can you tell us a little bit about the Average Reviews podcast and the Dread broadcast that you're organizing?
Yeah, so the Average Reviews podcast started, we're on season 3 now, but it started years ago. Kind of my buddies and I would get together and we'd rate movies, and we didn't have like an objective scale of what that rating actually meant, that we could be like, oh, this movie is better in this department, this movie is better in this one, but at the end of the day, is that still 4 out of 5 stars? You know, so we kind of break each movie down into, we talk about the script. How does the script handle the story? Is the story element unique? Is the script poorly written, even if the story is good? Is the music, does it complement what's happening? Does it stand out? Is it just there? So we kind of break everything down into different categories, give it a score instead of going plot line based following. But we break it all down, talk about elements of each construction of the film. And then that ends up with our score. It's out of 50. And then we just say that's okay.
I feel like there's Excel docs involved here.
there is, but
there is.
That's on my side. That's not for other people. But it ends up out of 50. But that's like, if it was 45 out of 50, that's 4.5 out of 5 stars. If it's 30 out of 50, that's 3 out of 5 stars. And so that's what we do at the average.
Yeah, you're very, very more organized or like thoughtful than us. We're just like, I don't know. It felt like
a turn off for a lot of people. I'll admit that. They'll be like,
yeah. Also, as you'll get to know, we do play a drinking game that is tied to the ratings. And if I feel like Jerry's not drinking enough, I might give a movie a little bit of a higher rating just to kind of buck with him.
It's 39. Good luck.
So don't really listen to us. One thing I do have to call out, this is going to be, I love it, but it's going to distract me. So if I ever zone out for a minute, so right behind Tim, he has a TV or a monitor, and it's playing clips of various horror movies, which is one of the coolest things I've seen. And now I'm going to rip that off and do that myself. But what's going to happen is I'm going to be looking and trying to figure out what movie everything is. I think that's Child's Play. Okay.
That's
I think I saw The Thing before. So what is it? What are you playing behind you? Is it just like, did you create that, or it's something you found?
No, my secret is it's a YouTube loop. So
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it is just a like, I think it's a 90s. I have an 80s and a 90s one that I have saved. And it's just 5-hour loops of clips.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be watching that and not paying any attention to everything that's going on.
Did you have anything to input anyway?
No, not really.
Exactly. So Tim, tell us a bit about the Dread broadcast. I mean, I was lucky enough to be a guest on it, and I thought it was a ton of fun. So just, I mean, in your Average Reviews podcast, you're basically covering all sorts of films and genres. I mean, you could be talking about Goodfellas, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but you're really focusing on horror films in the Dread broadcast. So really, how did that kind of come about? What's it all about? And what could people expect if they want to join in and watch that?
Yeah, so the Dread podcast was kind of this brainchild I've had for a long time. I love horror. My co-host likes horror. I love it. And so we do mix it up. We get other stuff in on the average, but I wanted to have a spot that was dedicated not just to horror and us talking about it, But in my experience doing this podcast thing for like 3 years, I'm by no means an expert at all. The horror community has been the most welcoming and the most inviting and the most fun to talk about and to talk with. So that's really where I gravitated. I wanted a monthly spot where we could, I've kind of been talking about it now as like the after hours pub. Like everybody has their own shows, but we all gather here at the end of the month to hang out and talk about what stood out that month. And so there's usually 9 other creators. I wasn't planning on originally having featured guests, but we have been lucky to have a featured guest every episode so far, where we interview them. They talk about movies coming up. We have a director and producer coming up for September. I hope that all works out. We've had a couple horror authors. We had an actor. So they just come on, talk about what they're working on. We interview them for about 30 minutes, and then each creator gets a little window to talk about whatever stood out to them that month. It can be a review, it can be physical media releases, it can be book recommendations, but it is all horror or horror adjacent content. And it's really, I'm really pushing it. It's about community. We just get together and hang out, have a good time.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it, man. And just being around like so many different types of creators and what they focus on, it was just so interesting and such a different aspect than I ever experienced before. Seeing people who were really into like physical media, seeing people who were really into like, you know, books and reading, so different from what like I usually talk about on a daily basis, which is, you know, we're focused on the film aspect. So it was really cool to kind of see everyone in the same room kind of getting together and all having a conversation. So I think you're doing a great thing, man. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And the horror community definitely, you know, get behind this, because it's a really cool thing, and it's really, really different. And it's also interactive. I don't know if you mentioned that, but it's actually a live stream, and the audience could like throw questions or comments basically at anyone who's speaking at the time, or ask the special guest any sort of questions. And I mean, it's bold. I don't know if we would be that bold.
We're not that bold.
I don't want to know what people would be saying.
Yeah,
while
we know what they'll be saying. They'll be talking all kinds of shit about how we're assholes and we're ugly.
I mean, I don't want that in front of me. And but it's great that you're doing it. That's awesome.
Thanks for mentioning the live stream. I forgot to add that part, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's all I want. I want people to hang out and have a good time. So I'm glad you enjoyed.
Definitely did. And Rich will join us in the future.
Yes.
And he'll add his brand of dark humor to the conversation.
Yeah, you definitely want that.
Awesome. So Tim, I have to ask you. I think you mentioned several times that one of your favorite films is Psycho. Is that correct?
Yes. My all-time favorite, not just favorite horror film, favorite film.
All right. So I don't, and it doesn't matter. I don't know how old you are, but how did somebody, perhaps your age or, you know, where you're from? I mean, is it Hitchcock? Was it a core memory? But how'd you land on a black and white film from the 60s as your favorite film? I have to know.
So growing up, my dad was a pastor. And so we were I hate saying we were super sheltered, but we were they monitored what we watched very closely. And that meant growing up, I grew up on black and white horror films. I grew up on Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. I grew up, and then my mom was much more into it than my dad was. I grew up on Vincent Price films, the old Pit and the Pendulum, Fall of the House of Usher, like Vincent Price's Poe adaptations. I grew up on those. And I grew up on Hitchcock. So it was and I didn't see Psycho until I was in junior high, I think was the first time I saw it. But those were the movies I grew up on, because that was safe to consume in our house. Because it was old. I mean,
some of those films are really twisted. I mean,
yeah, they are. I guess that was the guideline, but those were safe to consume. So that's what I grew up on, and that's really where the love of horror started. but to this day, I can still put on Psycho and just be amazed at how excellent that film is. So whether it's like it's black and white, yeah, but it is. I think it's a masterpiece. So
Yeah,
I could talk
it
about
holds
it the
up.
whole.
Yeah.
I could
Sorry.
talk about it the whole show. I wrote a paper at one point, so I could talk about all the little details. But that is not just my favorite horror film because people will argue it's not a slasher, it's not horror, whatever. But it's my favorite film. It's just excellent.
That's interesting because I do think of it as a horror film and I
For
do think
sure.
of it as a slasher film, or at the very least like a psychological horror.
Mhm.
But I guess yeah, people look at it and say it's black and white. It's like quote unquote slow, but you know, to me,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it does hold up. I think it's very intentional in the choices and the shots and everything like that. So yeah, I agree. It's a masterpiece.
Mhm. Good.
And especially when you pair it against the shot for shot remake that like Gus Van Sant did that is unwatchable, you know.
I think I started that once and gave up before I even completed it. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this.
How do you
Psycho
feel about
2 is
the
also excellent.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about the sequels? I haven't seen them in a long
I
time.
I think Psycho 2 is excellent. It's been a while since I saw 3 or 4, but I remember not liking them as much, but Psycho 2 was very good. It
Yeah, from what
was
I
made
remember, three is like really slasher.
yeah, I think they started to go a little edgier on that. 3 was made with tremendous respect for the first film, and I really that shows throughout. It's very good.
That's sick. I feel like I have to revisit that that franchise there. Definitely seen Psycho recently, but I don't know if I watched any of the newer ones. And kind of speaking of newer films, have you watched anything recently that you loved or hated? I mean, we throw shade here as well. We're not PG, so we talk shit about anything, anyone, any film. So, well, like if you have something you want to say, which it looks like you do, go for it.
Well, I had Dangerous Animals
Oh,
because
word.
you
Yeah.
brought that to recommend.
Mhm.
It's on my list, but I had so many, like I was on errands on Sunday. I had my own show. Like it is the next movie in line for me to watch. So I'm looking forward to getting to that one. But the one we just reviewed for my own show, I found some nice things to say about it, but it didn't exactly love it.
Mm.
I whack it.
Mm. I
I've
whack
come
it.
across it through
A
scrolling, but
Tubi.
I've
I feel
never
like
seen it.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a folk horror film. I like there are elements of it. I did think like the use of the plot was kind of genius. What they did with it, I haven't seen done before, but it was just kind of boring. Just kind of
Mm.
boring. But yeah, I haven't. I'm really looking forward to The Strangers Chapter 2 because Chapter 1 was terrible. So I'm really
So,
looking
all right,
forward.
all right, all right. So we're going in this direction. I'm gonna say something right now, and this is gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna preempt it with a question. Tim,
Mhm.
how many times did you watch chapter one?
Uh, Once because
Okay,
I watched the original Strangers a lot. That's one of my
for
favorite home
sure.
invasions.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I watched the chapter 1 and it was just a remake with I could see the threads of like, hey, we have chapter 2 and 3. And I think I need chapter 2 and 3 for those threads to pay off. And
Mm.
until I see that, it's an inferior movie.
I
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like I saw it once and it was basically I'm like this is the same exact movie just not as good.
Yes.
And I haven't rewatched it because I do want to rewatch it before I see chapter 2, so I've been kind of holding and I'm hoping I have the same opinion as you or that same thought where if like I could watch them back to back, it's better. But I remember watching and saying like, if I'm gonna watch one of them, I might as well watch the one I like. Why would I watch
Yeah.
this other
Yeah.
one? But I know
Well,
Jerry like has seen it a bunch of times, and it
I
grew on him.
it certainly has. So I probably
okay.
watched it. I'm not gonna lie, Tim. I probably watched it 10 times. I get stuck in loops, and Rich knows
Yeah.
this, where I'll just watch like the same thing like every single day for like 2 weeks, and I just can't get out of that loop, and I'll just
I
keep
do that with
watching it.
music. But yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I'm the same way with music as well. And honestly, it started to grow on me. And there were like a lot of things that I liked about it. I mean, it's still created some great atmosphere. I mean, the main characters, they're just as hateable as any of the other main characters in any of the Stranger films. I mean, you don't love those characters. They're there so you can kind of hate them. And I think just kind of how they introduced like this new look to the actual strangers, I'm feeling it. I'm definitely excited to see where they're going to go with it. Yes, it did start with basically the longest recap in history. Me and Rich reviewed the show, the film when it first came out on our show, and we're like, yeah, they probably could have did like a 10-minute recap and then went into, the next, kind of step in the film instead of redoing the film. I get that, but honestly, there is something there. So the only thing I do, I'm not trying to sell anyone on it, but all I can say is watch it again. Just watch it again and see how you feel now that you don't have that expectation of living up to the standards of what is also one of my favorite films, The Strangers, which is one of my top 5 films of all time. So once you get past of that, like the hype and like what it was supposed to be, and just watch it for what it is, maybe you'll like it a little more. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I just wanted to see something different. I just didn't want to see the same exact movie. But yeah, I'm definitely going to give it another chance. I think the new one comes out in like a month or so, so I'll probably just watch that, and then I don't think I'm going to the theaters to see it, but I will probably wait till for streaming. So tonight we're going to talk about some paranormal movies, switching topics a little bit. We're going to talk about Sinister from 2012, which I have started probably 8 times. I say this on the show. I have never finished the movie until now because Ethan Hawke tends to drink a lot of whiskey throughout the movie, and he's drinking, I have to drink, and I usually get hammered halfway through. So this is the first time I finished it. I watched it all the way through sober, which was really difficult. And then we're going to talk about actually one of my favorite films, The Changeling from 1980. I'm excited to get into that. So Tim, I think you chose this category of paranormal. Is there a reason, or did we force you to choose it?
No, I was talking to Jerry. I kind of was like, I don't like these categories. Usually don't enjoy these certain movies. And he kind of threw out some options. And I was like, yeah, I do enjoy paranormal. So I do enjoy a good paranormal movie.
I would love to know what those options were that Jerry said that you hate.
I could probably find them. But
That's a DMs, and those are private. Goddammit.
Movies about alligators. No.
Don't let me pick, Tim. I have the shittiest taste in films.
So Tim, we're gonna get to know you a little more throughout the show. I do want to get to the drinking because that's kind of what we do here. Before we do that, though, how can people find you? There's a chance to plug some stuff.
Yeah, at The Average Reviews on Instagram and at The Dread Broadcast on Instagram. I also believe at The Dread Broadcast on YouTube as well. When does this air?
Who knows? Whenever I get to it. Now we're gonna air, I believe, not this Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays from this Tuesday. So I think the beginning of October we're gonna air this.
Oh, okay. Then our giveaway will be done, so never mind. But
yeah. All right.
Yeah, I won. That's it. Plot twist. Jerry won somehow.
I was totally trying to do math. I was like, well, let's see, not this Tuesday, but 3 I'm like, I don't know. Fuck
yeah. Just cut this part out because it doesn't make any sense.
It's gonna air at some point. Now it'll probably air in like 3 weeks or so.
Just
okay, cool.
In the date.
So all right, let's get to the drinking then, and let's get to some movies. So what I have here today is something called Redemption Bourbon, and
I know it.
why. Oh, really? I don't know if I've ever had it or not. And why
Very
I bought
affordable.
this is it was really affordable because Bevmo was doing another one of their famous sales where it was buy one bottle, get one for a nickel. So I picked up more than one bottle. So yeah, so I'm gonna pour this. This is the nickel bottle since I drank the other one. Oh, 1792. I've had that too. Yeah.
I got it. I'm about to pour it.
How about you, Tim? What you got?
are you ready to judge?
Yeah, it's what we do.
I can't do brown. I can't do brown liquor. Can't do brown liquor, so I've got gin from a local.
Nice.
Okay. I'm not gonna. I will not judge gin. So we get, what is it? McCarthy's Reserve Gin. Never had that.
McCarthy's Reserve it's actually from it's a winery and distillery in Indiana down on the Ohio River. So it's just a local spot, but this stuff is delicious. So
and how do you drink it straight? Do you mix it?
I do. I use the sparkling liquid death.
Okay.
That's perfect with it. So,
real
Yeah,
nice.
I'll drink gin every now and then. I have to be really in the mood for it, and I have to mix it with the right thing. But I will. I've definitely been known to drink some gin. It will. It will get me very sick the next day. Like my body's just not used to it. But I do.
That's what the brown
enjoy
liquor
it.
does to me.
Yeah, no, brown liquor in my body. It's like part of my bloodstream, so we're used to it at this point. It's like I don't like
vitamins.
Yeah, if I introduce a new toxin, like a different poison, like my body will reject it. So, all right. So, do we all pour? We're gonna do this little. Let's cheers. Cheers, everybody. Great to have you on, Tim.
Welcome.
So, Jerry, before we get into Sinister, that's why I want to start with that one. As I mentioned, Ethan Hawke does drink a lot of bourbon throughout the movie. I will wager you 3 sips if you could tell me the type of bourbon that he's drinking.
The brand.
Yes.
It was Irish. Fuck. All right. What is the wager?
3 sips.
3 sips.
I do believe he drinks 2 different things throughout. I will take either or.
Either or. Oh God, I looked right at it. This is gonna.
It's not Irish, by the way.
It's not Irish. Then I don't know it.
So the one I know is Buffalo Trace, and I believe he might drink some kind of Scotch, and I'm not sure what
Buffalo
kind.
Trace. What?
He does drink Buffalo Trace.
I did not see a Buffalo
All
Trace.
right.
All right. Damn.
That's how we're starting off tonight.
Damn. I just had to take 3 sips. How did I miss Buffalo Trace? It's like one of my favorites. But I do want to talk about this 1792 for a second.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do. We usually talk about what we're drinking. I skipped right to the to the
Are
game.
you all right? You just wanted to see me take 3 sips.
I've been holding on to that for so long. Sorry, so tell me about it.
So this is some small batch, 1792. It's 94 proof. I could definitely feel that 94 proof. It's burning, like it's burning the inside of my body right now, especially if I had 3 sips. I wasn't expecting to take. I'm gonna say, hold on a second. Not a ton of flavors I'm getting from this. Just a big kind of ferocious burn, and that's lasting a long time. Little charcoal taste to it, maybe, but other than that, I mean, I think it's good. I think this is something I have to be in the mood for. But I'm about a third through the bottle, and I think I like it. So that's all I have on this.
Okay. So the redemption, I'm just gonna. It's hard. It just. I don't know. It tastes like bourbon to me. It doesn't. Like there's nothing standing out.
It's very flat. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Nothing standing out. Although I will say it does have a bit of an aftertaste, which I don't like, and I can't describe what it is. But there's something that's like lingering, and it's making me drink more because I'm trying to get rid of it, which is good. But yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan of this. We'll see how I am after a few glasses when we get into it. This is 88 proof, so a little higher than like a normal regular bourbon. It's okay. Yeah, it's nothing special. I'm glad it was buy one get one for a nickel. That's what I'm gonna say.
So I do want to say something real quick about that redemption before we see what Tim thinks about his drink, which might be his favorite. So he might have a lot of good things to say. But I just want you to know a fun fact that redemption, I remember it very, very clearly because I used to keep track of all the bourbon that I tried. And redemption was actually a milestone for me. And it was the 200th bourbon that I tried. And I liked it. Yeah. And that was a long time ago. So I don't know what I stopped. That was probably like 7 years ago. So I lost track of how many I drank since, but I used to be very clinical, almost like your podcast, Tim, with some spreadsheets and some ratings and reviews. But tell us about that gin.
Yeah. So I think I said it is made in Madison, Indiana, which is one of the oldest cities in Indiana. It predates the US.
Oh wow.
And is sitting on the Ohio River. But it's a winery that figured out how to distill their wine into vodkas and gins as well. So they had 2 gins, they had a citrus and a McCarthy's Reserve. The McCarthy's is a little bit more neither one of them have that Christmas tree taste that gin is known for. The
Yeah.
juniper.
Yeah, we know.
The juniper.
Yeah. We used to drink a
Called the
lot of
Christmas
Tanqueray
tree.
back
Yeah,
in
it's
the
called the
day.
Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Like you got the
Uh,
Christmas tree? Sure do.
this one has the citrus was very good, but it was very lemon forward. This one is very, I don't want to use the word floral, but it's got a little bit more of the traditional gin taste, just not quite that juniper Christmas Tanqueray taste to it. So it's not as sweet as the citrus one. So it's one of the best gins I've probably ever had in my life. It's
Is
got a
this your
little bit more
go-to?
heat.
Is this your
Heat.
go-to drink right here? Like a
If it was
gin and
cheaper,
kind
it would
of...
be my go-to.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Then
Yeah.
what is your go-to?
My go-to is Aviation. Ryan
Oh,
I drink
Reynolds
that a lot.
gin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
usually what I
That's
get. It's
super sweet.
affordable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like water. That goes down real easy.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So special night for Tim. He's elevating it just to be on the horror heads.
This is the
that's
special
awesome.
bottle. I broke
That-
out the special bottle for you guys. So
Oh, love it.
Love
We'll make
it.
it worth
Can
it.
can we see that bottle real quick? I just want to see how much is in it.
Oh.
Just to
Enough,
okay, good.
enough,
It's
yeah.
enough. It's enough. Okay. Just want to make sure you're not gonna have to grab that Aviation midway through.
Okay, so let's talk about Sinister from 2012. I'm going to give the plot of it really quick. Crime writer Ellison Oswald moves with his family into a house where a horrific crime took place. His family, of course, does not know as he's hiding that from them. As he begins researching the crime in hope for writing a book about it, he finds some Super 8 video footage in the attic that basically, once he plays it, it shows multiple families dying in some pretty brutal ways. And he soon finds out that he has kind of awoken a demon, and which haunts him and his family as things kind of fall apart for him. So this movie, again, I've the first time I've watched it all the way through, I kind of get why I haven't really watched it all the way through before. And what I will say is, I think the movie starts off awesome. I would say the first half of the movie is really creepy, really scary. I loved watching all of these different Super 8 videos of families getting killed. And then to me, it kind of hits a wall at some point where it gets very repetitive and kind of spirals into, it just seems like, it almost feels like a Netflix movie where they weren't really sure how to go about ending it, and they kind of wrote themselves into a corner. But I'm torn because there's a lot of stuff I like about it. There's a lot of scenes I like about it, but I feel like it kind of ends underwhelming for me, and that's kind of what I remember. And I was kind of bummed because I always talk about how much I like this movie without ever finishing it. And now that I finished it, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I don't like this movie as much as I thought. So Tim, I know we gave you a bunch of categories. We landed on this one. What did you pick this one, or did Jerry give you like two movies and you had no choice?
Motherfucker, you picked it, dude.
I picked this one.
You picked this movie, dude.
Oh shit! You know what?
I gave Tim a list of.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell him, Tim.
I remember Jerry sending me a list, and I was like, I've been dying to talk about the Changeling with someone.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I also I love Sinister, but you're right on with what you're saying. So
Yeah. So okay. So tell me like how right I am. Like give me your opinion on Sinister.
Okay,
We'll get
I
into the
love-
details of it, but like overall, how do you feel about it?
I don't like snuff films, and this movie has that like snuff film element to it that is just enough to make me super uncomfortable during those. Like it takes after the like classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre where it's not gory, it's all up in your head, and it's the most unsettling kind of work. But then we get to this point where like the children start appearing, and that's when I kind of drift in and out, and I'm like, the child ghosts aren't really doing it for me. I think the figure dude is creepy. I like him. I don't need the child ghosts up in the attic watching it on a screen. That's where it kind of loses me a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually do like the ending. So
I agree with you on the child ghost. That's where it falls off the rails because they're not really scary or creepy. And it's like every other child ghost I've seen in every other, especially like I think this is Blumhouse, right? Like movies like there's so many movies like this that show the child ghost. And for me, as soon as I see that, I'm tuned off. On the what was I gonna say? I had a couple points. on the snuff footage, and like you're right, this movie there's almost no blood, and like there's no sex in this movie. There's really little cursing, and they were trying to get a PG-13, believe it or not, but they ended up getting an R, and I think it's because it's very dark. These Super 8 footage scenes are fucked up. Like there's one where there's a family and they're all tied to these like lawn like these chairs, these reclining chairs outside by the pool, and one by one they get dragged into the pool and drown. There's like multiple scenes like this that are like slow and creepy, and the way they did the music, it like they hit harder like than they would if it was normally played out. And even the way the movie starts off, it starts off with the Super 8 footage of a family. They're all tied to like a tree, and they all one by one get hung, and it's like it starts off, you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna watch? Like, what am I in for? And again, for that first half, it really like it's really true to that. And then again, it kind of falls off the rails. The one thing I will say about the demon, I didn't find him scary. Like when they finally start showing him, it kind of just looked like a guy in a mask to me, which was a bit of a bummer. Like when you see him in the video footage, he's kind of hidden, so you don't really see him that well. And then there's a certain point where they start showing him a little more, and that's when I was kind of like, I don't really know about that. But
Care for
yeah,
that jump scare of him popping in front of the camera.
at the very end, you're talking about the final. Yeah, it comes off like a little hokey to me, I guess, which is a bummer because the movie is very serious and dark, and then it just kind of, I don't know. I just wish it would have kept that tone. Jerry, I know I've been talking for a while. How do you feel about this
Yeah,
one?
no, I mean, honestly, the open in this film is brutal, and it's like just like you said, you really don't know what you're in for. You feel like you're in for like this wild ride, like seeing this family being hung, and I don't know really any films that start that way, but I really have like 2 points that I kind of want to make about what both of you are speaking about. One is a lot of what is happening is basically the Ellison character watching it, on a projector. So I mean, I don't know if I kind of have a problem with that. I don't know, and we have this conversation like all the time. Like if we're watching something that someone else is watching, does it have the same impact than if we're just watching it? And it's a little inception right there. I'm kind of giving you guys, but like we're watching something that he's watching, kind of like if he saw like nudity on a screen in the background. That's so like, does that count? And like, does this really count? Because it's like everything is on a screen. He looks away when he looks away. It's blurry when it's blurry. So you're not really getting like the full impact of it. So I think those parts kind of took me out. I think I found like those parts, the annoying parts of the film. And I did kind of like the creepy kids and all that stuff because that's like when the paranormal activities start happening and that's where all the paranormal action is happening. But then like my one big problem with this film is where the hell did those films come from? Like they're just in the attic, and I understand there's paranormal influence here, but shouldn't they have been like evidence? So how come Ellison isn't surprised or reacts or questions where these films came from and why they're just sitting in his attic that's depicting these crimes? Like it's such a huge plot hole for me that they don't even address. Like he moved into the house because he knew it was the uh place for a crime, that crime took place. But why would there be evidence of other crimes in a fully investigated home where a crime took place? And that really bothers me about this film. Not taking away from a lot of the things in the atmosphere. I do like that. I'll get into that later. But I'm just curious what you guys kind of think about this. I guess a major plot point is that he finds these films and watches them.
So I actually do have an answer to that, and it's kind of one of the things I enjoyed about the film because I think the film ultimately is about this man's ambition, and he's willing to sacrifice his own family to have another hit book because he hasn't had a hit in a
Mhm.
while. Like when his wife finds out, and she's gonna find out this is the murder house,
Yeah.
like she's leaving him. Like, but he doesn't care because he's like, all I need is to get that hit. And I don't think a normal person, if I found those films in my attic, I would question. I'd be like, how the fuck did this get here? But he's not questioning it because he just is so driven to write this book and become famous. Like that's all he cares about. you kind of get the feeling he like, really doesn't even give a shit about his family. Like he's like, I just want to do this, which is it's really crazy to think like, how do you lie to your wife and say this isn't the murder house? Like she asks him like, is this near the murder house? And he's like, no, not even close, which I guess is technically true because it is the murder house. But she's going to be at the supermarket and someone's going to be like, oh, you moved into the murder. Like she's going to find out. So he's willing to take that risk. So I think he's not even questioning it. What one thing I do think is wild is like towards the end when he like starts freaking out, he starts burning the evidence, which is wild because like maybe they could have solved this crime, like they never will. And I think he doesn't even realize that like by him holding on to these video things, he's an accomplice. Like he should have, if he doesn't hand that over right away, he could now be like arrested for it, but he didn't care. So that's kind of how I think that went. Just one more thing on what you said. I get what you're saying about someone watching something on a screen that might not being as effective. I don't know. For me, it was more effective, and I think it could have really helped because I think they did really shoot that stuff on Super 8, so it looks really gritty and grainy, and I liked the looped music that they played over it. So to me, it really did work, and I feel like it worked better than if he was just having like flashes that showed you these things. Like that would have been kind of silly to me, and I get why you didn't like it, but for me, actually, I felt that made it scarier. Tim, how about you?
So what you said, Rich, I think answers the questions about the film, and it's kind of the films themselves are supernatural because he burns them and then they appear again. So they're going to appear where they need to, no matter like it's kind of a cop out answer, but like, yeah, he burned them, they still magically reappeared. So they're going to appear in that attic for whoever's next, so that they can get their next victim. But I'm with you. I think filming him on Super 8, that is what like it's not a clean, sterile, death looking video. It's not, it feels like home video. The lighting on it is so natural. The lack of clarity, even on what we see for a lot of it, is just unnerving to me. Like the scene with the lawnmower gets
Oh
me
yeah,
every time because it's
that's a
so
great jump
sudden.
scare. That
Yeah,
with the noise they play when it happens. This time I watched it and sober for the first time watching it. That's actually scared the shit out of me. Where I was like, "Oh shit,"
yeah.
Whereas, but if I had a few drinks, I probably didn't notice it as much. But this time, it really hit me on that. And I like also too what they do with the Super 8s before they show you the like brutal murders. They just show you the family just doing family shit. They're
Yes.
just playing, they're just hanging out. It's really kind of creepy. And then it just shifts. And then you're like, what is actually going to happen right now? Like, oh, they're tied to these lawn chairs. Like, what is like, oh, fuck, that's what's happening. They're getting dragged into the pool and they're going to drown, which I read a fact they actually did really have the people tied to those chairs when they shot this. So they had to be extra careful.
Oh wow.
That just sounds terrifying to me. Even knowing it's going to happen, you tie me to a chair and drag me into a pool. I think I'd freak the fuck out. Like, I don't think I could do it. Like,
No, thanks. I swam like in college and high school for years, and I don't want to be tied to a chair underwater. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you guys. I think what they were introducing was definitely scary, but I think over time of rewatching it, for me, I think it just got less and less effective, like these home films, and I think I started concentrating more on the other areas
Hmm.
of the film as I kind of watched it more. Yeah, of course, like the first time you watch it, that's definitely the most shocking thing is really what's happening, on the projector. I think as I watch this, I mean, I'm not like Rich. I definitely watched it probably 10 times through,
all the way through.
all the way through. I do have my favorite parts. I do stop it sometimes after my favorite parts. I agree. The first half is definitely the strong half. I agree with that. But I think, yeah, I think I just, especially this time, being that I was going to be a little more critical, watching it a little more closely, for the podcast. I think I just started like paying attention to more of the creepier things, that was going on. Like, I think with his son kind of coming out of that box when he was having that night terror. I mean, that was extremely creepy and
Mhm.
unexpected and very very scary. Um, but I think, but all these things, I have like the same problem with them. It's like, how did these things happen? You know, it's like, where was everybody when all these things were happening? How does his son get out of his bedroom, climb down the stairs, and into a box while he's sleeping? Now I know sleepwalking is, you know, you do a lot of things, but that seems really intricate. And there was other scenes where like
Well, they do
Ellison
explain it.
basically,
That's happened before. So
but
even
don't they
before
see like
this, they
he's
do
just
reference it. I think he climbed in a washing machine or something. Like I
Yeah.
think they do reference that this kind of stuff happens.
it's
And
elaborate.
I mean, yeah, look, it's possible. I don't know. I'm not,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, it's a movie, right? But
but
I
but how about this? He also falls through the ceiling onto the floor and like no one wakes up. His wife is like in a coma all the time. She's not experiencing like any sort of this activity that he is. And I'm finding like issues with like those things. I'm finding them more annoying than kind of funny. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just having problems with different areas of this film and enjoying other areas. Go ahead, Tim. Looks like you want to jump in on
No,
that.
that scene of him falling from the attic was, I was watching it going, he just made so much noise. The
Exactly.
daughter, the son, nobody
No one
but
cares.
yeah,
and
that
they're
was one
already on
thing.
edge too. Like it's not like they're like comfortable in this house at this point. Like, I mean, I know Ethan Hawke is probably drunk. He's been drinking the whole movie, but you know, the wife, like, yeah, I think you're right. I think it would have made more sense if they showed that, like, so here's what I would have liked a little more in this movie is if they played more on the family falling apart angle, and they kind of do show it. Like, and there's again, but it kind of comes too late. Like, there's a
Mhm.
scene towards the end where he gets in this big dramatic fight with his wife that goes on too long. By the time you get to this point, I'm kind of like, just wrap this movie up. But I would have liked to, they kind of, it's good and bad. They throw you right in the middle of the situation. Like, you get hints that they've been having a lot of problems, but you don't really see that. Like, the wife just kind of goes along with it. You know, she won't at some point, but I would have liked to have seen a little more, maybe a little more conflict early on to kind of really elevate some of these other scenes. But I agree, it's not well written. I will say I think the atmosphere is great. There's some good scares, but it's a very poorly written script. It almost feels like multiple people wrote it, and it went through a lot of different revisions, and then ended up being like a mess. Like I did read that I kind of like Blumhouse did kind of put their, or Jason Blum put his like spin, like he added a bunch of stuff to it, which you know was probably doing to like, you know, again, make the sell more, but might have ruined the movie. And I can't say what potentially he added, but I did read that.
I agree with you. I think emphasizing the family falling apart would be better than the misdirection of making us think the son is the focal point. Because that's one of the things I like about the ending is, I don't, was it surprising at all to either of you that the child that's missing from each case is the one who does the killing? Is that surprising to anybody?
No, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it was kind of telegraphed that that was what was going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the movie spends a lot of time setting you up to think it's going to be the son. You know, he's having the
Yeah.
terrors, the demons possessing him or something. And then it ends up being the daughter. And so I kind of like this story of it is the neglected child or the one that they don't spend as much time with. And I do kind of like that angle, but that's not like, that's inferring from what I see because they don't talk about it. I would like to see a little bit more of that family disintegrating throughout this instead of his like wall of yarn connecting everything together and it doesn't matter.
You know, it's really funny. It's like they explain it in the end when they're like telling you, like they explain them. Basically, like the deputy, like who's kind of helping him out, calls him up and basically explains everything that's
I hate
happening.
that.
Yeah, I know. But what's funny is like, so at some point Ethan Hawke has had enough with the paranormal shit. And he's like, I got to get out of this house, and he moves to a brand new house. And then you find out that you don't, like, this demon won't kill you until you move to a new house. So like if he just would have stayed in the haunted house, he would have been fine. But they've like moved to a new house, and then that's where but which is also kind of silly, right? Like,
Overly elaborate,
yeah,
like
like
plot.
wait, I could only get killed if I move. That doesn't really make a ton of sense. But one thing that I thought also didn't make a lot of sense is they move into this new house, which is one of the biggest houses I've ever fucking seen. It's this humongous mansion.
I
If they
thought it
had
was their
all
old house.
Yeah, right. They moved back to their old house, which was this
Okay.
huge mansion. Right, whatever. Yeah, they moved back to the old house, which is this huge mansion. If they had all that money to afford that house, why did they move into this small, like, dinky house in this? I know why he moved there, but if
Uh-huh.
I'm his wife,
She
I'd be
should be like,
like,
"What the hell? I ain't
yeah,
living
Yeah,
why
in
are we moving
exactly.
to this like 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom when we were just in this ginormous house? It didn't make any sense. Like
How did he
why they
convince
would
her?
move. Like why couldn't they like it was a weird like setting. Like why would they make it such a big house? Like and if
Yeah.
they're that rich, like why does he need another hit, right? Why even bother?
They
Just
ignore a
live off that
lot.
one forever.
I feel like they ignore so much in this film. Like when he's first like up in the attic and he's kind of like snooping around. There's like this very large, also looks poisonous snake that just jumps out. It was like a jump scare. No mention of it. Guy didn't even be like, "Oh, honey, be careful. There's a snake in the attic." Or, "Kids, don't go." No one talks about this like 4 foot snake that jumped out at him in the attic. Like,
Would have been
like there's just so many areas that, and kind of like what you guys are saying, they introduced stuff, but they didn't really like flesh them out. They kind of just like threw it out there, and maybe they forgot about it, or maybe it got edited in a weird way where it didn't kind of like nothing happened to it, but it was just kind of like things like that that was bothering me. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So kind of like Rich in my head, if I spoke to someone, I would have said, "Oh, I really like Sinister. I think it's a great film," and I would have give it all the accolades. Oh, it's well acted, great plot, great atmosphere. Great. On this watch, I'm like, there are so many problems with this film, and all the things I thought were pros are kind of like negatives for me this time, and I found it a little annoying, and it does hit like this tremendous wall at some point that I think goes on for about 20 to 25 minutes. I guess I usually call that like the 70s investigation, kind of like part where it's like in every 70s film, no matter what's going on, it just turns into like this mundane investigative kind of plot, kind of crawling, forward area. And I think this film has that as well. And I think it's like a good 20 to 25 minutes, and then finally we see like all these kids in the attic and things like kind of start coming together, and you're like, "Oh, I think I know what's going on here." But yeah, just there's huge dips, and probably what we like is Rich, honestly, is Sky Ellison. I mean, he lives the life, man. He just wears like this sweater. I want to wear that sweater. It looks so comfortable. He just sits around all day drinking
Watching
coffee,
movies. Yeah.
watching murder films, and drinking scotch. I mean, like, I think I'm jealous of him. You're probably jealous of him. His wife was definitely jealous of him, because that's why she was so angry at him, is because this motherfucker is sitting around all day drinking and watching true crime. It's like, I want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm bummed I watched the whole thing. I really am because I felt the same, and I always told people I like this movie. And I will say, like, I think if you're gonna watch Sinister, you just need to be drunk. That's it. You just gotta drink and watch it, because like watching it sober, it's just not as good. And I mean, you could say that about any movie, but I think this one in particular. And here's the thing: I think I'm going to watch it again, but I'm probably going to turn it off at some point once I get bored. It's going to be one of those movies I put on when it's like maybe like an hour before I'm about to go to sleep. I just need to watch something. I'm going to put it on because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put it on, and once I get tired, that's it. I don't need to know what happens at the end of it. So yeah, I'm kind of bummed because I do remember really like this movie. Have either of you seen the sequel?
I've heard it's like one of the worst sequels that has ever been made.
Okay, then we definitely need to watch it.
Yeah, I'll probably like that better if it's the worst. I think I watched it once, but I don't remember so much scotch drinking in it. So maybe it kind of turned me off, because I was kind of expecting that, and probably didn't have like the atmosphere that this film has, which I think this film still did really, really well. The setting, even the house that they stayed in, it was creepy at times. Even when he's like in his own backyard, it was. Though I think those are like the scary moments. A dog shows up. It's like that was terrifying. Like I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, what was Doberman? Oh my god. It's like
That scene was creepy. That's when the kid jumps out of the bushes too. Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
scene was really that was really well done. Yeah, again, movie has some good parts. I think overall it's really flawed. Let's wrap this one up so we can get on to the Changeling, which I definitely want to talk about. So what we do on this show, for those of you who don't know, is we rate every movie on a scale of 0 to 5 bloody knives, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. And what we do is we do play a drinking game tied to that. When we have a guest, that drinking game is a little bit different. So Tim, what I'm going to ask you to do is you need to pick one of us to partner with. And what that means is you're going to be drinking with one of us for the rest of the night when we're playing this particular game. So you need to pick me or Jerry. And I will say there probably is a right choice and a wrong choice, but I'm not going to tell you what that is.
Uh, this is tough. Jerry's hung out on the Dread broadcast, so like I want to be loyal, but also he already had to drink for getting the question wrong at the beginning. So I think I want to go rich.
I think you made the right move there. I think choosing me means you will probably drink less, but we will see. So how this is going to work, Tim, is I'm going to rate this movie 0 to 5, and then Jerry's going to drink that number of sips. Then Jerry's going to give his rating, and you and I are going to drink that number of sips. And then you're going to give your rating, and Jerry and I are going to drink together. So we get hit double. We are the hosts and we are professionals, so that's why we can take it, right? So Tim, I'm going to let you go first. So 0 to 5, what do you rate this movie?
So I do, even though we kind of brought up the movie's flaws, I think for me this is a 4 bloody knives out of 5, and that is because I think the first half of this film is super effective, is very good. And I think the rest, even though it's got its flaws, I think the direction from Scott Derrickson elevates it above other movies with similar flaws. It's still entertaining watch. The ending does fall apart. I do like the very end, but not the very like face pop in end, but the after they move, I think like that is great. But for me, I think I'm with what Jerry said. There's about a 20-25 minute window of this film that I don't need, period. We can get rid of that, but that is why I am 4 bloody knives out of 5.
So I'm mad that I have to drink for 4 seconds, but I do understand that.
I could get with that for sure. So cheers. Let's do our 4, Rich.
And I forget if we said it already, but that jump scare at the end, that is one thing that Jason Blum added at the very end that the director did not
brilliant.
Want.
Yeah. It's pure brilliance right there.
All right. So, Jerry, why don't you give your rating, and then Tim and I are going to indulge.
Yeah. So I'm gonna agree with Tim, and this comes up all the time, Tim, and I'm kind of happy that you brought it up. Is a film good if the first half of it is like all you care about and all you watch and all you rewatch? Because I have probably about 20 films in my rotation that I literally only watch the first hour of the film and then don't give a shit about whatever happens. So I just want to watch like my favorite parts. Does that make it a bad film? And I think we have that conversation all the time. And I'm always kind of like, I don't know. I'm like, I love the film. I watch it all the time, but what would I rate it? So you answered it by giving a 4. I agree with you. I think probably maybe the first 30 to 45 minutes of this film, I really like it. I mean, I love any sort of films that have like that atmosphere, that fall feel, and just, everything that's going on. It's a little creepy. You don't really know what's going on. There's no paranormal activity yet. But I don't know if I'd go 4. So on this last watch, it definitely dipped down a little bit. I'm going to give this 3 bloody knives.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you there, Jerry. I'm going to give it a 3, which is a better rating than it probably should get. But it's like you said, I am going to watch this again. Yep. I'm going to turn it off at some point. I'm probably going to watch it a bunch of times. I'm probably never going to finish it again, but I'm going to watch it. And I do think it is entertaining. It's parts of it are really well done. I wish it was written better, but it is what it is. I wish it was 20 minutes shorter. I say that about every movie. But yeah, I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I would say it's one that is scary, and it's tough to make a scary movie. Like we talk about horror movies all the time, but what is actually scary and what is just entertaining? So I'm gonna do three. So we're all doing three together. So it's cheers to that. Three sips.
Ooh,
Cheers. And Tim, I just noticed that is a giant glass, and if that's full of gin,
It's got
what's the measurements? Like how much gin is in that giant glass?
it's got some of that in it, but
Okay,
nice,
okay.
nice.
Yeah,
Just
but
a splash.
it was
Just a splash.
it's probably 2 or 3 shots in there.
Oh my God! All
Two or
right,
three
cool.
shots. I mean that sounds like a lot of alcohol, Tim, which just kind of got me thinking about something.
It was a heavy pour.
It's not good when Jerry's thinking. You don't want him to be thinking.
Love a heavy pour, and when I hear that someone's pouring heavy, like Rich and I do so often, and now you joining us, it makes me almost want to play some sort of drinking game. And when I think of drinking games, we invented some brutal ones in the past, and I have great news for you, Tim. We're not going to play our most brutal drinking game. So you will be able to perform tomorrow at your job. You will survive. You will make it. But what you will partake in is you will be the first guest to partake in our brand new drinking game that the world doesn't even know about. And you're about to find out right now. And it's called Random Ass Trivia. What I have here,
using
Tim,
the wheel of death.
I love it.
is the wheel of death. Now you're gonna see some numbers on this wheel, and I was a little kind this time. You know, I set it up different from the last time we played it, but that episode hasn't aired yet, so no one even knows that this is about to happen. But this is random ass trivia, Tim. So what I'm gonna do, if you agree to it, if you agree to play, is I'm gonna ask you some random ass trivia questions about horror movies, and you just need to answer them. Now, the good news is the trivia questions, they may be random, but they're going to be exactly about these films that we watched.
Oh shoot. Okay.
So
I don't know a lot of trivia about these films, but I'll do it. I'll do it.
No, it's going to be about what we watched. I did not look up any trivia. I came up with these questions on my own. It's just really about, it's just going to be like random things. It's not going to be like obvious things. Some things are going to be super, super easy, and some are going to be super, super hard. Now, the catch is I'm going to spin this wheel, and whatever number it lands on is what the sips are that are at stake. So if you get it right, I'm going to take those sips. If you get it wrong, you're going to take those sips. And I think to make it real fun, we're going to have Rich join you tonight.
Sorry, Rich.
I was like hoping he wasn't going to say that, but he did.
So Rich will join you and be your teammate. So question one is do you want to play this game? Otherwise, we could just skip right to the Changeling.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm
not good at trivia, Rich, so I apologize.
All right.
So two things really quick. Number one, Tim, just so you know, we did this last episode and there was an 11 on there and it hit twice and Jerry lost both of those questions. So he did 22 sips. The other question I have is, can I help Tim or is this all on Tim?
I think he should be allowed to help if he's suffering the consequences.
You might not want my help though. I might be way off.
All right. So how about this, Rich? I don't want you to really input on the answers, but you could just tell Tim if you agree or disagree with what his answer is. How's that sound? Is that fair?
Okay.
Let's try.
I think that's fair. All right, let's spin this bad boy. Check out this spin. Ready? Oh shit!
It's hypnotic.
Oh, look, just one. All right.
Okay.
So let me get back to me. Okay. First question was, all right, we're going to be talking about the movie Sinister, Tim. And you watched it. So maybe this is going to resonate with you. What was the name of the deity in Sinister that ate the children that the professor told Ellison? So he gave it a name.
Don't they call him Mr. Boogie.
That is the character in the film, but that is not the deity, that the spirit, the demon.
Close though.
Then I'm lost on that one because I refer to him as Mr. Boogie.
Okay. Unfortunately, you guys got to take a sip. His name was Bagul.
Oh, okay.
which does translate to boogeyman.
There you go. All right. This
isn't going well, Tim. This
I'm off to a great start.
You know, when I introduced you, I was like, he's a wealth of knowledge.
I know you overhyped
me. Oh no. All right. So I don't know. This might be a softball.
5 sips.
Here.
5 sips, by the way.
5 sips on the line for everyone who's listening and not watching. Hopefully you can hear that cool spinning. I haven't heard the last episode to know if that's a really cool thing or not, but we'll see. All right. Thinking about Sinister again. And we kind of mentioned this. Tim, what was the name of Ellison's only hit book that
Kentucky
he wrote?
Blood.
Yeah, there you go. That's
nice.
I'm taking Blood. 5 sips. There we go.
All right, so we're already ahead. We're already winning. Easy.
See how things go downhill for me, Tim, so quickly?
See, I remember that because I wanted to read it. Like, anytime they talk about it, I'm like, I kind of want to read that book.
All right, let's go back to the wheel, guys. Here we go.
All right, Jerry's spinning that wheel. And just so everybody knows at home, there's a 1 through 9 on here. So the most someone could get is 9 sips, and we almost got it, but it landed on 8.
Oh, this is a detailed question. This is a detailed question. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'll even let you guys confer on this one. This is a little detailed. And there's a high number at stake. Thinking about Sinister again. And Rich was trying to fuck with me in the beginning of the show, so now I'm going to fuck with him now. What was the college shirt that Ellison was wearing in the whole first half of the film? The guy was wearing like one shirt underneath that sweater.
For like 3 days straight.
Yeah, and
I had it in my notes.
It's a real college. I just want to say that. And I also want to say Ethan Hawke chose the actual shirt that he was going to wear. If that
I had it in my notes and I already clicked out on it, so I can't look at it, but I wrote that shit down.
Any guesses?
I might have a guess if Tim doesn't.
I hate it because I kept trying to figure out what it said every time because it's always it's always covered by the sweater. So I was trying to figure out what the top word was. So Rich, if you
go ahead, Rich.
This is a guess. Is it Ellison?
No, it's Bennington. So close. So you guys got to do 8 sips right now. You guys are up to 9. This is brutal, and things are going my way for a change, but things could change very quickly because we're going to move into some Changeling questions.
This is going to be a rough one. All right.
Which I feel like you guys might excel in. So let's go back to the wheel, everybody.
Spin the wheel. So I've probably seen the Changeling 30 times, but
30 times.
I couldn't tell you one thing about it.
30 times. What number are you hoping for, Rich?
1. I don't. Okay. As much as I've seen the movie, I don't know the details of it.
Well, you got what you wanted.
All right, 1 sip.
Like, I'm terrible with character names, so if you start dropping like, what was the name of? I don't know, man.
Well, it's random ass trivia. I could be asking anything. So, I feel like this is a softball. Okay, Tim. There's an iconic bouncing ball scene in The Changeling. All I want to know from you is what color was the ball?
It was red and white.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Nailed it. I'll take that sip.
It was one sip. That was 1 sip.
I know we got fucked on the 8.
It could have been 9. It could have been 9. I don't control the wheel, guys. I don't control that. This is random. Okay. Should we go back to the wheel one more time here?
One more time.
Let's go. Wait, mate.
I see a cat in the background.
Yeah, there is a cat.
Oh, fuck. To 9.
So I'm going to get it wrong.
No, we're going to get this one right. Let's lock in right now. Let's lock in We can't get this wrong. We cannot let Jerry win a drinking game because I don't think in the history of this show, in our illustrious career, he's ever won one. We can't let that happen now.
About to be Jerry's good luck charm.
Yeah, which you guys are lucky. I can't find my notes. Here they are. Okay. Thinking about the Changeling one more time. And this is real. This is some real random ass shit. So John Russell is the character in the film. What color was his car? For 9 sips, man, these guys, I mean, anyone who's listening right now, these guys are putting a lot of thought into this. I could see the anxiety building right now because there are 9 sips.
Just to confirm, this is the car at the very beginning of the movie, right? Or is there a second car?
Oddly, they're both the same color, so it doesn't matter. There are 2 different cars, but oddly, they're the same color. So I will take it.
So I wanted to say white for whatever reason, but it's snowing out, and I don't think they would have a white car in the snow. But Tim, did you have an idea?
No. I think so the car at the beginning I remember is a station wagon.
Yes.
It's a station wagon.
Is it like a light gray? Am I remembering that right?
I think it's white. I do think it is white.
Okay, I think we're gonna go with.
If I'm remembering correctly, are you also talking about the paneling on it? Because it's not just white; it has the wood paneling on the side of the station wagon.
I think you're onto something, Tim.
Because I remember randomly, like, I have a desire to have a car like that for some weird ass reason.
So, like I said, the cars are the same color. So go with what you're feeling.
I don't think a whole car would be brown paneling. So
I'm trying to help you, but you go where you want to go.
Well, if you said I was onto something with the brown paneling, that makes me think the car later is brown. Maybe not brown paneling, but we're gonna go. Rich, how do you feel?
I'm gonna go with you. I'll go with the brown. It would make sense. Right.
It is brown. Woo! It is brown. Both cars are brown.
Both cars are brown.
I don't know. They're both brown. Damn, I gotta take 9 sips.
Hang on. I'm actually looking this up just because I gotta see this car. If I could find it on Google.
I was actually looking. Someone nearby was selling a blue one with brown paneling not too long ago, and I was like, I kind of.
So I was going to give you guys brown. I don't know the 2 colors of the first car, but the car I was referring to is that's in the movie for the whole movie is brown. But I was going to give you brown because of the station wagon is also brown. Okay. So it could be white and brown for all I know, but I was going to give you brown just as a general kind of cover. All right.
So we won. We won that game.
So you won, but you won. You feel good. But how about this? I have a bonus question.
Oh,
I have one bonus question, and it could be super, super easy or it could be super, super hard. But I have one bonus question if you guys want to roll it one more time.
Let's do
it. I just drank like 12.
All right. Tim said, let's do it.
I'm here for the good time.
All right,
let's bring it back to the wheel here.
No one lives forever. Let's do it.
There we go. Okay, last spin. Here we go. What number are we going to end up with?
Okay, respectable 4.
Hey, if we lose, do we still come out on top? I haven't been keeping track.
I think you will. So
Jerry's at like 14. I think we're at 7 or something like that. So yeah, we're gonna we won. We won no matter what happens.
Okay.
All right, Tim. Name any other film Scott Derrickson directed.
The Black Phone.
Okay, done.
All right, that was random ass trivia.
Or do you want Doctor Strange?
That's it. All right, you showed off. You guys won. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you guys.
Once again, Jerry loses the drinking game. The Wheel of Death. I am loving, but also terrified about the Wheel of Death.
That was brutal.
That was fun.
That was brutal.
What other podcast
show's over now, right? We're done.
No, we got one more film to talk about. So we're going to talk about The Changeling from 1980. So Changeling from 1980. I'll give the plot really quick. After experiencing tragic personal losses, meaning his family gets killed in front of him, but in a car wreck, John, a music professor, rents a Seattle mansion that has a troubled history. And what that troubled history is many, many years ago, a very rich man killed his crippled child and adopted another child and made that child take over his identity. And now, I don't know how many years later, 60, 70 years later, the child ghost is haunting John and trying to tell John exactly what happened so John can correct the wrongs that his father did. That was a little convoluted. The movie does get a bit convoluted. So, what I will say about this movie, it is one of my favorite horror films of all time. And why it is one of my favorites, it's one of those movies that legit scares me and creeps me out. The scenes that are scary are really good and effective. The atmosphere is incredible. It's 1980, so a lot of the things you'll see in this movie have been repeated in many, many movies throughout the years. Something like there's a seance scene, which I'm sure this isn't the first movie to have a seance scene, but lots of movies after have done a seance scene. There's a scene where John, who's played by George C. Scott, convinces a woman to like tear up her floorboards and they find a dead body in the well, very similar to The Ring. So there's lots of things that, like, if you like horror movies, paranormal movies, you'll see we're influenced by this, which I love. Now, I'm interested to see what Jerry thinks about this movie because it does get into that 70s investigation where I would say the back half of the movie, you know what? It's funny. It's not even just investigation because you figure out the plot 45 minutes in. Then there's like 45 minutes of John trying to like explain the plot to various people. So it kind of does get into a bit of a lull. That said, um, it doesn't bother me because I just really, the parts of this movie that I really enjoy and I stick with it. And also it's 1980, right? So it's like that's going to happen. You have to expect that there's going to be a half hour where really nothing happens. So um anyway, that's my thoughts on the movie. We'll get into some of the details. Jerry, I already see you shaking your head. Before we get to Tim, let's hear what you think on this one.
I mean, do I think it's a good scary ghost story? Yes. Does it feel like 1980? No. It feels like 1971. At times, it feels like a TV made for TV movie at times, and I think those are the areas that I probably have the most problems with. The scenes that they get right, it's like they nail them. They're creepy, they're scary, they're suspenseful. The acting is by the entire cast is phenomenal, and I think that kind of helps elevate this film quite a bit. Just because, like, when you get into the crux of it and this convoluted storyline, it is almost like Sinister. Can't believe how many similarities they are of how convoluted and complicated this ghost plot is. And
I couldn't even explain it. Like I was trying.
yeah, it's really, really hard. And again, they have to have someone almost narrate it for you three-quarters through the movie, and then again at the end, just so it kind of sinks in and you get what's happening. Um, yes, I do like a lot of parts of this movie. It runs about an hour 45. God, that seemed like 2.5 hours to me. I'm sorry, guys. I know you both like this film, but there were just moments where I mean it hits that investigative sequence, which I mean it's just a hard watch for me, at times. That's as far as I'll go this time before we get into the details, but it feels like something from the early 70s to me. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's what I figured you were going to say. So, Tim, I know you're with me that you really enjoy this film, so would love to kind of hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So the other thing I was raised on growing up was 70s investigative dramas. We
Damn it, had we land on that?
I grew up
Yeah,
watching
awesome.
Columbo with my dad. So, and those are all like hour and a half TV episodes. So there is a spot of me that really enjoys those investigative elements, but This movie's paced like a 70s or late 70s film, and I definitely get how that doesn't resonate nowadays. I am at the point in my watching life, I don't want to call it a career, in my watching movie enjoyment level,
We're all getting paid
where
hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, Tim. So this is our career. We get that. It's okay.
yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be shy on this podcast. We're all quite wealthy from our podcasting careers. Thank you
so much. The I am at a point where I prioritize attention to story over attention to jump scares. And that is one thing I find, for example, Conjuring Last Rites was a garbage story with heavy jump scares and atmosphere. And this is kind of the flip of that, where it is, I think, a quality story where the scares are very subtle. Like this is a movie you can show my mom. You know, it's not gory, it's not violent, it's not any of those things, but it is unsettling. And I'm just at the point where I would take that over the atmosphere and jump scares any day. That's just where I'm at. So I do really appreciate this movie. I'm not trying to jump in and give final thoughts already, but
yeah, we got some time. We got a few minutes.
Yeah. Let's dive into that.
One star.
I'll circle back
all right, that's it. We're done. All right.
And drain the glass. All right. Good night.
Yeah, and you're right. And look, we do say it is a convoluted plot. I think it is a great story. I think the idea of, again,
it's a brutal story too.
This ultra wealthy person, like, again, killing his crippled son so he has an heir and replacing him is wild. I would think
over money.
Yeah, over money. I think what might have helped out a bit is, again, this is kind of just narrated to us, and there is that one scene which is probably one of the most horrifying scenes I've seen in a horror movie, where they do show the father murdering the kid, and it is hard to watch because he's drowning him and the kid's foot is hitting the tub, and like that gives me fucking nightmares on its own. But I think because, like, you're just kind of told this thing happened. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been better to show more of that, the backstory. Probably not. It would have dragged out the movie a bit. But it is kind of one of those things where you're not overly invested in, again, this kid's story, other than it being really interesting. One thing I did pick up on this watch, and it's something I just didn't really notice before, and there's like, maybe I did, just forgot, but like, you get the feeling this ghost has been lingering in this house for a very long time, but no one's acknowledged it. And maybe John is like the first person to see it because he also lost a child, right? So he's more susceptible to help. And I do love that he's like trying to help out the kid and really putting his own self at stake. Like, he's risking getting arrested, he's risking his career to help this kid. And at one point, like, he comes home after doing what he thinks, like, he thinks he's done enough. Like, I've told your story, like, I'm moving on. And the little kid ghost is pissed and like throws a tantrum and just starts like just knocking everything down and going crazy. And I thought it was really clever because, again, this is like a child ghost, and like the adult in me is like, man, this guy did all of this. Like, it's not his fault that like no one cares, but it's a child ghost, right? So it just kind of goes ape shit. And I really kind of liked that aspect of it. I do think it is a really well crafted story. Again, the acting is great, the atmosphere is great. I love a lot of the long tracking shots and a lot of the shots that are like far away from like up the stairs, where it's basically the ghost is kind of looking down. And it's one of those things you see all the time in movies, but like, again, not saying this was the first, but probably one of the first movies to really get that and to get it right, which I really appreciate it for. I do understand where Jerry's coming. It does play like a TV movie, especially in the back half of it. It does get really boring. And it, again, you figure out all of this plot earlier on, and now it's just him kind of telling different people the plot, which you kind of get it at that point. So I could kind of see why. I think this is a tough one to show people now. Like, if I had like a younger person who was into just getting into horror, I wouldn't show them this movie because I think they would hate it. But I think if I showed this to like someone who's a big horror fan that's just never experienced older horror movies, I'd probably show it to them. I don't know how they would feel about it though. I have nostalgia towards this movie because, again, I've seen it a bunch of times. It's one of there are very few movies that scare me, and this movie does scare me. I watch with the lights off and I get creeped out, and that takes a lot. Whereas take a movie like you just said, The Conjuring: Last Rites, lots of jump scares, but not really scary. Like I'm
No.
not afraid of it because like I don't care. I'm not invested. It's like just things happening versus this really sets up some of these things. And just to talk about some of my favorite scenes, there's a few of them. I will say, and I've seen a ton of seance scenes throughout the years. The seance scene in this movie is probably the creepiest seance scene I've ever seen in a movie. And the
Yes.
fact that in 1980 they did better than like Insidious or like any of these newer movies is wild. Like it's so creepy, and the way they do it is something I'd never seen before. So to set it up for people that haven't seen, they're sitting in this dark room, and there's two different seances. They're sitting in this dark room, and there's this woman who's a medium who's like basically how you expect a creepy medium to be, this older woman. And she's like just talking out loud and like scribbling on paper. And as the ghost is communicating with her, she's writing down what he's saying. And someone next to her is like reading it off. And it's so well done because it starts off kind of slow, where she's just kind of scribbling a little bit. And then it picks up and it just builds. And I think that scene is so effective. I love that scene. It's one of the best scenes in a horror movie, I would say, of all
I
time.
would, and I have a note about that. I would say that is to me is probably the highlight of this film is the seance scene, and what I like is the post seance scene is where John's sitting around and he's listening to that tape, and you hear that woman's
Mhm.
monotone voice, and it's just like digging into your head, and you hear she's repeating the same thing, and it's like just that voice with that slight echo on it, and he's rewinding it, and he's starting to hear like some like other voices, a child's voice, and it's getting creepier and creepier. He just keeps listening to the same part over and over. And for some reason, it's getting creepier and creepier. And to me, you feel like the chills kind of develop. And again, there's not a lot of films that happens, to me, and I really enjoyed that part of this film. So obviously what I said earlier, I wasn't saying that like I hate the film. I just said it drags a bit. But the moment, and I'm gonna say it again, the moments that hit so hard and so perfect that it's hard to believe that they messed up a lot to me, because it's like there's so many of those moments, like the seance, obviously, and we mentioned the ball during um the drinking game. I mean, that was scary. I mean, that's exactly what everyone doesn't want to happen. Everyone's in their home, and I don't care how old you are. We're all like, older guys, you know, when we were kids, those core memories, anything like that. We never want to see a ball bounce down the stairs. Like that is the last thing everyone, and it does it. And this film puts it in your face. And to me, that's scary. And I love those moments.
Tim, what are some of your favorite scenes in this movie?
So I like that you mentioned Insidious with that seance because that is exactly what I thought of. Uh, I can't see this and not think about how this was a major influence on a lot of James Wan's catalog, from Insidious to early Conjuring. Like the tape is a big part of the Conjuring Part 2. Going back and listening to the tape and
Yeah.
catching, there's just a lot of that like I watch this movie and I think we wouldn't have haunted house films like the good ones, like the first Conjuring, um, today without this movie. This movie does a lot of those things. As far as I know, first or at least better than what came before it. Uh, and I don't know if I can pick one scene. I do know like that bathtub scene is especially just harrowing, not because of what it's showing, but because we've heard that knocking sound before. And then when you find out what it is just a layer of tragedy added to what is going on that is just so, it hits me every time, that I just think this movie is so much more than a ghost story. Like you mentioned, I think this movie is parallels of the child whose father literally killed him for money, and the father who lost his daughter and wanting that relationship back. And there's kind of this almost like this ghost is like, hey, you're the dad I never had, can you help me? You know, it's not out there. I also appreciate we never see a ghost, we never name a spirit or anything like that. We just kind of like, this is the kid, and that's how we move on. uh the wheelchair scene going down the steps
Oh
is
That
my
is one of the
God.
creepiest wheelchairs. It's this
Oh.
like really old, like 1920s or 30s
yeah,
wheelchair, and the thing just looks horrifying. And there's two scenes in particular where it moves on its own
Mhm.
and is like kind of chasing people or just moving through the hallway. And it is, to me, like I've seen things like that in other movies after, and it's hokey, right? It's kind of
yeah,
silly. It's like, oh, the wheelchair's chasing her, so what? But in this, it's fucking terrifying to me. Like the
yeah.
way they did it, it's so scary. And again, just describing it, I'm like, that sounds silly, but no, it's really scary. And they, again, they do it twice, and both times it's effective.
It's
I just
super
think the
scary.
sets, everything is just, this is the kind of, this is where I'm getting on, like, I love old movies because I don't think we care that much nowadays. We want to build it as efficiently as possible on a soundstage, and that set doesn't feel like a soundstage. Even though it's a set, I feel like I am inside the house that they show from the exterior. The attention to detail, being like 3 floors up and looking down through the stairwell, is just, a lot of the shots he uses throughout this film give the film a sense of weight and reality that is missing from a lot of haunted house films. So I yeah, to pick a favorite scene, I don't know that I have a favorite scene. This is a movie that, like, I like to just live in the atmosphere and I just want to be inside this film.
Yeah, no, I get the feeling it feels very real. And like you are a part of it. And maybe a lot of it is again, you just have this one character who's all alone on this in this house on this journey in a way. And you do feel like you're there like voyeur wise, because like a lot of the shots again are ghost POV watching these things unfold, which almost makes you feel like you're a part of it, right? Just the way it's kind of done. It's again very effective. I again totally get where Jerry's coming from. I'm watching this again and I'm like, there's no way. Like I know you're gonna be bored, right? I know it's gonna go into that mode again. Could it be shorter? Absolutely, it could definitely be shorter. I'm not mad at it because again, I really just respect it for what it is. And again, maybe if this movie came out now, I probably wouldn't like it as much because I'd be like, oh, great. Like it just ripped off the Changeling. But the fact that this came before all of these other movies that like I love. Another movie it makes me think of one of my favorite films. Have you ever seen The Orphanage? The
Yeah.
Spanish movie makes me think of that. And when you said the scene where again they're talking about he hears this noise, this banging noise that later is revealed to be the child's struggling in the bathtub. It reminds me of in The Orphanage, like you hear this like bump a bunch, and you're not sure what it is. And then you find out later it's basically like what happened, how she killed her own child accidentally. It's like, which is just one of the
One of
most
the only horror
horrifying things.
movies to make me cry. Like, the
Mhm.
Yeah.
movie was tragic.
Yeah, and it's effectively it's terrifying that movie. That movie really freaks me out. It's one of my favorite movies, but I feel like that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Changeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And this film is tragic too. And the story of this film, I mean, it's powerful. And to get like an actor of the caliber of George C. Scott is pretty incredible. That again, that would never happen today. And that's probably a lot of what we're lacking. But it wasn't even just him. It was, the entire cast. Like I don't remember the actress who played Claire, but
I
I
believe
thought
that was
she
his wife. I think they're
was it. She
married.
was she was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
like in
And
real life.
you talked about like the two
Trish Van
scenes.
Dever.
Oh, I don't know her, but I think she did a fantastic job. And one of the moments that really caught me is one of that first wheelchair scene that you mentioned, Rich. That it happens twice, and basically to set up the scene is like, Claire's in the house and she's talking to John, And then she just has this look on her face, and it just looks like she goes cold and pale. And maybe that's just in my head. And you're like, he's talking to her. What's happening right now? And he all of a sudden realizes what's going on. And then he looks up the stairs and he sees that wheelchair. Now he's scared shit. Now I'm scared shit. And that was like one of those like really big moments in the film where you're like, this is so scary, because like you're living it through her. It's like you're like, I can't even imagine what she's looking at. And I haven't watched this film as much as you two have. So a lot of this was almost like rewatching it for the first time. So I didn't know she was looking at the wheelchair. I remember the wheelchair. I just don't remember when it came in. I was like, oh, I was like, I was scared. And there was definitely a few moments like that got me scared. I think if they just pared down a little of that 70s investigation, this would have been a top film for me, but they never would have did that,
You know what makes it effective too, and this is probably the last thing I'll say in this. It is the casting of George C. Scott, because he's kind of like a no bullshit kind of actor. Like he's kind of badass in a way. Like he's like,
Yeah.
my family just got wiped out. I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm not freaked out by anything. He's kind of like an old school kind of tough guy. And when you see him starting to get scared, I'm like you just said, if he's scared, I'm scared.
It's like seeing your dad get scared.
Yeah,
You're like, what?
yeah, exactly. Because I
Whoa.
feel like there's nothing that's going to scare this guy at this point. Again, he saw his own family killed in front of him,
and he just went to work.
Yeah, exactly. He's just going to compose another song. Like he's like, and not even affected. So like for him to get freaked out, like I'm like, wow, this must be really fucking bad for him to get freaked out. So I think it was excellent casting.
That is
Yeah,
a
right.
wild intro to the movie. Like, hey, we're just driving through the snow. No.
Yeah, it's a horrifying way to start this movie. And again, it's an opening scene that I've seen done about a dozen times since then. Again, sure it was done before, but it really sets you up and just throws you right into the middle of this thing. And yeah. Sorry,
I'm gonna interject right here, since you both kind of brought up the opening of this film, and it is a wild beginning. And I'm gonna challenge you two right now, because I feel like we dipped a little bit. I would like to turn to the wheel right now and ask you a question about the opening of this film. Are you guys down to do one more?
Let's do one more, and then we're gonna wrap this up. One more.
Let's take it to the wheel here.
Wheel of death. Here we go. I should have never agreed to this. It's gonna hit 9. It's gonna hit 9. It's gonna hit 6.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Okay.
And now I'm really feeling it. Now I'm very, very buzzed at this point. So my brain is about to shut off.
You both sound like two experts in this film. So
we are. We're experts in everything, really, not just this film.
I'm not that worried. I mean, you got the color of the car right. I mean, I feel like you're gonna get this. All right. So thinking about the Changeling and this opening scene, where did the crash take place that killed John Russell's family?
What, you want city?
No, they just flashed it up on the screen exactly, like where they were.
Like, no, you mean like the town they're in?
It wasn't a town. It was just general.
Oh, I don't know.
It was very general. You could probably guess it, I think.
The mountains.
It just flashed right on the screen. It actually said it.
But I actually don't know what you mean. Like,
so when they
is
were
it a landmark?
No, there isn't a landmark. It actually says it, like almost like a subtitle. It says where they are when the movie starts.
I have no idea.
So there's not like a sign or anything like that. It actually tells us where they are.
I'm looking at my phone for the first 30 seconds.
Don't, because they're in New York, because he moved from New York to Seattle.
Yeah. Can you give me a little bit more? You're right on it.
If it's snowy, like looking like that, it's upstate New York.
Yeah, perfect. That's all I wanted. See that? Yeah, it's upstate New York. It says it.
I overcomplicated. Does it really? It says that? It's like a crawl at the
It says upstate New York. Yeah, it says it. Yeah.
What a weird thing to tell us. Like, who gives a shit?
It gives a date.
Well, because then it doesn't flash Seattle later when he moves.
No,
does
it doesn't. So it gives you the date, and it tells you that it's upstate New York. And I thought it'd be too cruel to ask you the date, but
Nah,
they did show the date.
I'm not remembering the date.
I'll take my sips. I think
that's wild.
I think it's November 18th. I think
I'm sure I've noticed that, but like, who cares? Like, why would you tell us that? Like, it's just random, random as
don't
trivia.
You want to know dude? Don't you want to know where the crash happened? I mean, it's such a big moment in the film. It's like where are they? Oh, they're upstate New York, and then he moves to
it's
Seattle.
process of deduction. I knew he moved from New York to Seattle. So
all right, so we got that. So let's on that note, let's wrap this one up. So Tim, why don't you give your rating on this one, 0 to 5? Yeah, let's. I want Jerry to.
I just did 6.
Yeah, you're about to do 6 more.
Sorry, Jerry. I think this is one of the greatest haunted house movies ever made. I really do. And you're talking to somebody who, I'm a softie for the older movies. The slowness really, I feel it sometimes, but it doesn't bother me because I also feel like if I go back and think about this movie right now, I can't think of a wasted scene. I can't think, even though it slows down, and I totally agree with that, I cannot think of a scene where I go, yeah, that didn't serve any purpose. Because even once we know the dad killed the kid, we're still on this journey of why would he do that? And then finding documentation to prove it. And I'm there for that journey. I also think it is just beautifully directed, incredibly acted. George C. Scott is in 2 of my favorite horror movies of all time. He's in the best Exorcist film.
Oh my god, that's funny you said that. I'll be honest, like I that's a guilty pleasure of my Exorcist 3. It's not good.
It's not a good movie.
I would say that I would say this, that movie's awful. However, I've probably seen it 30 times. I watch it all the time. I love it. It's not good though, but I do love that movie.
It has the one scene.
I love that movie.
The one scene.
I love it. It's not good. I love it.
Are you watching the director's cut or
the original? No, I tried watching a director's cut and they just put in like crappy footage from
yes.
Which doesn't fit. It totally takes you out of the movie. Like, so I tried to watch that on Tubi.
I really enjoyed that movie because it's like a serial killer demon film. So I love that.
It's not good, but I do love it too.
Yep. So, anyways, I love George C. Scott. There is nothing. I can't think of a thing in this movie that I would change.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with you that it does slow down, but I think each of those scenes serves a purpose in the greater narrative. Or I think today we often like to leave or gloss over things in movies. Is it the investigator who flips his car at one point in this?
I think so, yes.
And the woman comes in later and explains the scene, and then we're not going, oh, what, we're not left wondering because it is answered for us.
And that, I get what you're saying there. Yeah.
It seems repetitive, but that's also not like, oh, it can't be a plot hole because she literally just came in and told us everything we needed to know about it. So I kind of love that attention to detail about this movie. So I'm gonna quit blabbering and this movie is a 5 bloody knives out of 5 for me.
Oh, why did you invite him? All right, let's get him done. Let's get the 5 done.
Really, I'll do them with you.
Wow, that's a team player right there. He's drinking when he does it.
I gotta pour a little bit more to get through this last kind of segment.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go now. And so here's the thing. I said it is one of my favorite films. I think it's so many movies have been inspired by it. I think it's incredibly effective. One of the few movies that scares me. However, I will agree with Jerry that it does have. To me, it's not, I wouldn't say it's flawed, but to me it does. I could skip a bunch of it. I could go on my phone for a little bit. I'm going to give it a 4. That said, I'm going to probably watch the movie multiple times a year. I'm going to recommend the movie, but yeah, I see the reasons why it's not for me a 5. So I'm going to give it a 4. Jerry, how about you?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to let you guys off the hook here. There's a lot about this film I like. I don't get scared that often, and this film does scare me at times, but it's not a film I crave. It's not a film that I want to watch over and over again. It's not a film I think about. And honestly, if we weren't doing this podcast, I probably wouldn't have watched it this time either. So a lot of that has to come into play. And I also want to say, Tim, that I like shitty movies, and this is a good movie. So there's that inherent like battle right there in my head where I know that this is a good film. I know how I should feel, but I don't. I don't, because I like The Conjuring Last Rites.
I know we were talking about that.
That was a great film.
We were just talking about that. And I was like, what did you like about it?
If we review that, that will get a higher score than this. And I hate to say it. I don't want, listen, everyone's turning off their freaking Spotify right now or their YouTube. They're getting mad at me, but you know what you're getting, with me. I like the shitty stuff. So I'm going to give this one, I hate to do it, 2.5. Bloody Knives. It's a good film, but there's too much Ishtar. There's too much nothing. There's too much that I don't care about. And I wish it was condensed, and I wish it could have been the perfect film, but it wasn't. So it disappoints me, I guess, is what it comes down to.
2.5's more than I thought you would give it. So Tim and I have to drink 2.5. Jerry's got to drink 4. Let's cheers to that. Let's finish strong. And that finishes my drink. So, Tim, wrapping things up, like, how could people find you? There's your chance to plug yourself again to our millions and millions of listeners. He's either frozen or ignoring us.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. He's just like, I need to get the fuck out of this podcast. And,
there you go. Tim's back.
Yeah, so
Tim's back.
We think he froze for a second. I'm like, I would have bailed too after Jerry just bombed the Changeling, because he doesn't know shit about horror.
Yeah. So Tim, we just wanted to give you a chance to plug yourself. Like, how could people again find you? How could they when should they expect new episodes of both of the projects you're working on? Like, here's your chance.
Yeah. At The Average Reviews on Instagram and YouTube, and at The Dread Broadcast on Instagram and YouTube. That's really where we're at right now. Average Reviews we do every other week throughout the year, but in October we're doing our last this year. We do 13 Nights of Halloween, which is 13 days from Halloween. We release one episode a day leading up to Halloween. And then this will be our last year doing that, because we're going to focus more on the Dread Broadcast and putting more time into that one. And that one is the last day of every month. So that's the last day of every month, unless it's a holiday, and then we'll do it the Sunday before the holiday. So
for the 13 days, do you record every day, or you do a bunch like in a clip?
We record all year long for those. So we've been...
Oh, okay. So you bank episodes. Smart.
Yeah, bank them up, and then we'll release them. And we release one every day. So this year's theme is folk horror, which is like one of my least favorites. So that's been a ton of fun.
Awesome. Well, check out.
Next time I'll bring a shitty movie.
Fair. So anyway, check out the Average Reviews podcast. Check out the Dread Broadcast. Tim, thank you so much for coming and hanging with us. Thank you for surviving the wheel of death. I appreciate you as a partner, because it could have been a lot worse for me if you weren't here, because I didn't know the answer to any of those questions other than maybe a one sip. I think I did know one of them, but you got us through that, so I appreciate it. So anyway, I'm not sure what we're gonna do next episode. We've been kind of winging it lately. We will hit you up with something really exciting, though, as we always do. So let's wrap
it's
up.
Easy, Rich. We're gonna be in October, so we're gonna start talking about the horror challenge. And,
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
we're gonna definitely be hitting October. So
yeah. So for those of you who didn't listen last year, Jerry does a 31 Nights of Horror challenge every year, and we'll probably be talking about the first few categories there and launching that. So really exciting about that. You could find us on Instagram at Horrorheads Podcast. Email us horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. If you're listening, watching, like, subscribe, do all the things. So Tim, again, thank you so much. Let's cheers and get the fuck out of here.
Thank you so much, Tim. This is a blast.
Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys.
See y'all.